And I'm Simon Kelly.
And on today's show, I think we just played the intro there. Didn't we just play the intro? I was under the impression that there was a banner play. We're going to play the intro again.
Yeah?
Yeah. We've come off a 4.5-hour epic live stream yesterday here in the studio to promote WP Elevation, and we've pieced the studio back together for Silence is Golden. And frankly, none of us really know what we're doing.
It could go any way today.
That's right. It could go either way. But on today's show, very important, we're talking about selling WordPress maintenance plans. I'm going to go on a rant about pricing and money and mindset. We're also talking about the fact that WordPress powers 30% of the top 10 million websites on the planet. So if you're struggling to make money as a WordPress consultant, then we need to have a serious conversation. We're also going to talk about GDPR regulations coming in Europe and how that impacts us. Elementor V2 is on the way. And we're also going to talk about designing themes with Gutenberg blocks in Sketch. Stay with us. There we go. That's how the beginning of an episode is due to roll out. In fact, I think what Ray and I were talking about the other day is that we're going to start with just the Silence is Golden logo. So as you're rolling through, this is the idea. It's called the thumb stopper. As you're scrolling through Facebook, you see the Silence is Golden logo, and you stop. And then a couple of seconds later, you see one of us say, "Welcome to another episode of Silence is Golden. On today's show, we're going to talk about blah, 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 blah." That's called the tease. Stay with us. And then we cut to the intro, and now we're back here to the show. So that's what's supposed to happen. We might get it right next week.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing, and we were talking a little bit about this yesterday when it comes to like the WP Elevation launch, and when it comes to these episodes, if we were doing like 10 episodes in a row, it would be easy to tweak and be like, oh, well, that didn't work. Let's try this for the next one, and then smash them all out. But because we're doing it live every week, it's like, well, I guess we'll have to remember that for the next one.
Yeah.
A lot happens in a week.
It does.
A lot happens in 10 minutes.
It does.
It's hard to remember.
Who are you? What are you doing sitting at this desk?
What are we talking about again? What's that red light mean?
That's right. It means we're on. We're live. So today we're talking about a whole bunch of things. The main topic we're talking about today is selling WordPress maintenance plans. We call them care plans here at WP Elevation. They are the golden opportunity, my friends, for you to be making some sweet recurring revenue in your business. And recurring revenue is a good thing because it allows you to then pick and choose the projects you work on. If you've got enough rec rev in the business to pay the bills and keep the lights on, then you can pick and choose the projects you work on. That is the main topic that we're going to talk about. But before we get into that, we should have a bit of a recap of what has happened over the last week.
Stuff that happened.
New statistics about WordPress powering 30% of the internet. Where did this come from?
Pretty exciting. It came from quite a few places. The first one I saw, I can't remember, but I announced it in the behind the scenes last week when you cut me off to do the webinar.
Oh, sorry about that.
Brutal. No, it's totally worth it. It's fine. So Matt Mullenweg dropped a tweet saying 29.9 ... And that was pretty exciting. So the stat is that WordPress powers 30% of the top 10 million sites. So there's 2 billion sites plus on the internet. I haven't counted recently, but most of them are inactive. So this stat is specifically about the top 10 million, which is amazing. Like that's a ridiculous amount of sites. So if you check out the WordPress.org website, I think /showcase, you can see websites. Some of the top websites that are powered by WordPress, such as the New York Times and others that I can't remember, but definitely the New York Times, which is amazing. So if you are pitching WordPress to your clients, or they're saying, WordPress is just a blogging platform, then you can show them these sites that are powered by WordPress, these sites that they would know of, and that could just help to ease their worries as well.
The Houston Zoo.
Yeah, right.
Powered by WordPress.
Is the New York Times powered by WordPress?
The New York Times have a blog, I think, that is powered by WordPress. The Obama Foundation, the Chicago Sun-Times. In Australia here, News Corp have just moved everything over to WordPress.
Yeah.
If you go, as Simon said, if you go to wordpress.org/showcase, there's a whole bunch of websites here that are, Angry Birds, the Walt Disney Company, the Herald Sun here in Australia, Boston Market, Canada.com, powered by WordPress, the San Francisco Examiner, WNBA, which I believe is Women's
National Basketball
Association.
Yes.
Um,
Whitehouse.gov?
There you go, whitehouse.gov. Now, these stats, by the way, of the technology that powers these websites comes from W3Techs. It's W3Techs, TECHS.com. It's World Wide Web Technology Surveys. And interestingly, WordPress powers now 30.2% of the top 10 million websites on the planet. The nearest competitor is Joomla, which powers 3.1%. So WordPress has a 60% market share of all websites that have a CMS. Joomla is the nearest competitor with a 6% market share. So WordPress is 10 times bigger than its competitor. All of you Drupal and Joomla dudes watching, come and play with the cool kids in the WordPress sand pit.
Yeah. We'll tease you into submission until you start using WordPress.
Fastest growing, here we go, fastest growing content management system. This is interesting. Daily number of additional sites in the top 10 million. Daily number of additional sites in the top 10 million since the 1st of February 2018. 2021 new websites a day in the top 10 million on WordPress, right? The nearest competitor, Squarespace, 451 new websites a day out of that top 10 million launching on Squarespace. 318 a day on Wix. 2021 a day on WordPress. Yeah, Squarespace and Wix.
Seeing the growth is definitely more interesting than just seeing the stats of now, because you want to see the change, you want to see how things are different.
Do you have a chart or a graph? Or a,
yeah.
Do you have a chart or a graph?
Nope.
Or an infographic?
Nope. Nothing. Just led you down a rabbit hole of nothing.
I have to build one. How quickly can we build an infographic?
Hey Ray, could you?
Fiverr.com. Build an infographic showing recent growth statistics of WordPress since February 2017. Go.
All right, cool. We'll give that 2 minutes. Also, the General Data Protection Regulation is going to, there's a plan for that to be in WordPress core. They've created a bit of a working plan and a roadmap about when that's going to be included. Now, I don't completely understand exactly what's included in this. I'm not sure how relevant it is to Australians, but I'm sure it's something that we have to keep on the radar. It is generally about privacy of data on websites to protect website visitors. So I think it's definitely something to pay attention to. You can learn more about that at wplinks.io/GDPR. Learn about how WordPress are planning to implement that into core.
There we go. Now, we're also just on GDPR, because I don't really know what it's about either. Well, I do, but I don't understand what we need to do about it. So I've reached out to the guys at IU Bender. Actually, it was Victor Ramirez. If you're watching here, Victor, hey, how you doing? Victor put me onto the guy. We have used IU Bender to run our privacy policies on our website for quite some time. IU Bender have this great tool where you can set up your terms and conditions and your privacy policies and link them onto your website for a small fee. And so we've been using IU Bender for a while, but they are now actually actively running webinars with their partners to educate us all about GDPR. So we are going to be running a webinar very soon in the coming weeks about GDPR. So keep your eyes on that and make sure you get on that to learn how it will impact you. In fact, I have a meeting tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock my time with Philip from IU Bender to nut out the details.
There you go.
There you go.
Bit of insight into Troy's schedule there.
There you go.
Also, Elementor version 2 is coming, and it's very exciting. It looks awesome. We were just talking a little bit off camera about what is going to be involved in that, and one of the things we're pretty excited about is how they're going to integrate the thema that they have into the plugin itself. So that's actually going to be part of V2. And what that helps you do is it actually helps you change your theme, not just the landing pages.
Correct.
So things like the header and the footer and blog posts, archive pages, custom post types.
Yep.
The list goes on.
Yeah. Now you can kind of do a little bit of that already with some plugins for Elementor. Anywhere Elementor is one example. You can kind of build your own post pages and your own archive pages, which I've been experimenting with here internally as we look at redesigning the WP Elevation website. I just let the cat out of the bag, didn't I? However, what Elementor 2 promises is being able to, which is kind of what Beaver Builder did a while ago with the Beaver themer, allow you to design every part of your theme, not just what's in the content loop, not what's just in the WordPress loop. So I'm very excited about this. I have had a bit of a play with the beta version of Elementor 2.0, and at the moment, really all it adds is a whole bunch of pre-designed blocks, which they are calling blocks, which may get confusing when Gutenberg and Elementor clash, and they're all talking about blocks. So there is a bit of a push in the Elementor community to rename blocks into something that's not blocks. So we'll have to see what happens there. But at the moment, they have a whole bunch of pre-designed stuff. Now, having said that, I have also been using a thing recently called Katka, K-A-T-K-A, template pack for Elementor, which is about 140 pre-designed sections for Elementor.
Right.
And they're beautiful, designed by our friend Barna. And I'm actually making a how-to video this afternoon in this very studio to show you how easy it is to install that template pack. I must say I've had a bit of a look at the Elementor blocks, their pre-designed sections, and I've been playing with the Katka Elementor template pack, and I really like the Katka design Elementor templates. So don't worry, Barna. I don't think that just because Elementor have a whole bunch of pre-designed blocks coming that it's going to impact you at all, because I really like what you're doing and I'm enjoying using your stuff. So, but I am very much looking forward to Elementor rolling out the theming capabilities. That's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, awesome.
And I'll tell you why, because what I want to start doing is I want to be able to start showing a dynamic header on our website based on the section of the website that you're on. So I want to have a dynamic call to action in the header and the footer if you're visiting the Silence is Golden section, or you're visiting the podcast, or you're visiting the blog. And the themer is going to be allow us to do that without touching code. It's going to allow you to put conditional theme elements on your website, not just content elements. So it's very exciting. I'm very excited.
Why, just on that, why is it important to do that without touching code?
Well, here's the thing, right? I knew you were going to ask that. And so here's an answer I prepared earlier. Here's the thing. I am going to get flamed for this, so bring it on, right? But I don't think you need to know how to code, and I don't think you should know how to code to build a website for a client or yourself using WordPress. I think you should know how to write code if you're building software. So if you're building plugins for WordPress, like the Elementor page builder, then you should know how to write code. Predominantly PHP, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. But if you're building a website for a client, I don't think you should know how to write code. You don't need to know how to write code. You should know how to design a great solution in the browser or on the mobile device that helps your client achieve their objectives and overcome their problems and design a great user experience. But I don't think you should need to understand code. I think for me, and I do know how to code, badly, but I do know how to code. For me, it's much more efficient if I can literally design something in the browser, because that's where it's going to live ultimately, right? And so one of my personal missions is to help WordPress consultants who are kind of on the cusp. And I'll give you a real example. A member of my wife's mother's group is looking at, she's not quite ready to go back to work yet. She's looking at getting a side hustle up. She's a digital marketer. She doesn't understand code, but she knows web really well. She is my target audience. I want to be able to say to her, listen, I can teach you how to build websites for clients without touching a line of code, because that's scary. And then I can teach you how to run a business doing this for clients as a consultant. So that's a personal mission of mine, is to be able to teach people who want to get into the business of building websites for clients how to build those client websites without touching code.
Yeah,
Go.
absolutely.
I said it. Come on, flame me, you
even
GitHub nerds.
Yeah, that's it. Eh? Well.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Well, I think on that you can have both, and this way I think it empowers the WordPress consultant to kind of pick which way they want to go. If you're able to build websites without code, it doesn't mean you have to necessarily launch them without doing any code or getting a developer in to tweak something or change something.
Sure.
But if you're able to build something for a client and you can get approval on that, you can then say to your team, developers, to say, okay, can you optimize this? Do we need all these plugins? And they could be like, oh, we don't need any of that. Let's sort that out, make it much faster. And then you can perhaps get away with not using some of those plugins. They can do the code, but the client has approved the end product that you built without code. So there's a little something extra for you.
Yeah. And and also things like Beaver Builder and Elementor and Divi are so good at basically writing the queries for us and writing the CSS for us that, in a large part, if you are just building WordPress websites and you're spending a lot of time actually writing CSS, I don't think, eventually that's just going to be AI and robots will do that for us. So if you're hedging your bets on being the best CSS developer in the world over the next 5 years and building websites on WordPress, and you're not building anything custom, you're not building software, you're just building websites for clients using WordPress, and you're going all in on CSS, I'd be a little bit nervous. And if I was coaching you, I would probably suggest that that's maybe not where you're going to hedge your bets, because that'll be done by robots in 3, 4, 5 years' time. AI is going to do a lot of that for us. In fact, it already is. I mean, Elementor, Divi, Beaver Builder, they're already doing a lot of that heavy lifting for us.
Yeah. Click, block created,
That's
design
right.
looks
Done.
great.
Perfect. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Speaking of designing and blocks, so someone in, I think it was Victor Ramirez actually, mentioned in our private group, designing themes with Gutenberg blocks in Sketch, which is great because I absolutely love designing in Sketch. I think it's awesome. And when I'm getting into the browser, I'm using something like Beaver Builder, and using their blocks, and PalPack is the add-on of choice that I use to create different designs and different modules and templates and things like that. But if I'm designing the site first, if we're designing landing pages, I use Sketch. And whenever there's an opportunity for me to create some kind of reusable template, I'm definitely getting on top of that. So what has been shared is a way to is the Gutenberg blocks and how to put them into Sketch, so you can actually drag and drop, build a design of a site just like you would with Gutenberg itself without having to use Gutenberg. You can do that in your design program if it is Sketch. And this actually has created something I've been working on for a while, which is building the Beaver Builder design framework in Sketch, because I want to make that easy as possible for me to just drag and drop little elements and modules and blocks, I guess, into Sketch to build website designs faster. So this is an awesome share. I was really happy to see this one. So there you go.
Cool. A couple of comments here from Facebook. Michael James says, true, but basic HTML helps when solving any bugs. Correct. I do think you need to know how to read code. I do think you need to know, like I can look at the source code of just about any website, even if it is kind of, even if I'm looking at funky JavaScript, I can kind of figure out what it's doing. I can't write it from scratch. I can write HTML and CSS and PHP very inefficiently. But I can look at code and understand what's going wrong or what's going on. But I don't need to be able to write it from scratch. Basic code CSS is necessary to customize designs, says Josh. Well, maybe we'll agree to disagree on that, Josh. I mean, you can customize designs. You can spin up something like Generate Press or a starter theme, load up Beaver Builder or Elementor and knock yourself out and make it look beautiful without touching any CSS.
If you're ready to do 10,000 clicks.
That's right. Kerry Baker says, and CSS Hero. Yep, there's another tool that is basically writing CSS for you. Adam Hellman says, regarding GDPR, if you hold EU personal data, you must comply with GDPR wherever you are in the world. Very nasty fines potentially if you don't. Okay.
Right.
Josh also says, Elementor versus Beaver Builder, what are the pros and cons of each? I'll tell you what, Josh, get on over to YouTube and check out my friend Adam at WP Crafter. He has got some amazingly, stupidly detailed videos comparing Elementor and Beaver Builder and Divi and all of the other options over there. So go and check out YouTube and go and search for WP Crafter over at YouTube.
The one that you like the best is the one that I would recommend, and just double down on that.
That's right, exactly. Just become an expert at it and don't change. Just go all in on one of them and just become an expert at it.
Like, they're both really good.
Yeah. Michael says, this is a great, I love this question. Thoughts on changing WordPress template name so when looking at source code, people can't see which theme you've used? Michael, first of all, if the client is looking at the source code, they're a little bit distracted by their core business, and I would be questioning why they're doing that. Second of all, and I totally get it, when I first started out, I didn't want clients to know that I was using WordPress to build websites. Ray's just making me flick around the studio here with the red lights. Maybe we come over here and look at this one here. Hey? Wrong camera. There we go. How you going, everybody? Yay! I didn't want people to know that I was using WordPress, and that's because I didn't understand the value that I was adding to my clients. I was very insecure in my abilities and in my position in the whole ecosystem. So I didn't want people to know I was using WordPress. The more secure I became in the value that I added to my clients, the less I gave a shit about whether or not they knew I was using WordPress. And then eventually I was just telling them, yeah, we use WordPress because it's the best tool for the job. So, Michael, I wouldn't worry about changing theme names because if they're looking at the source code, they've got bigger problems. Is there a Windows alternative to Sketch? because Brett Drinkwater unfortunately uses Windows. Brett, my heart goes out to you, my friend, and I'm terribly sorry that your life is so horrible that you're using a PC.
Use one of those virtual machines and then buy Sketch. Because that, all that waste of time to have an application within a different operating system to your current one is totally worth it.
Really?
No, probably not.
Right. All right, so that's what happened. Now, I just want to have a little bit of a chat about something that's really been pissing me off this week.
This pisses me off.
And I want to talk about money and mindset. We get a lot of questions about care plans in WP Elevation, which is something we're going to talk about a little bit later on. There's been a couple of value bombs dropped this week in our community. And a lot of people are trying to sell website care plans for $59 a month. Stop it. Stop doing that. You cannot, listen, unless you have got, 100 customers and a fleet of robots doing the work for you, it's going to be very difficult to make any profit selling a website care plan to anybody for $59 a month, right? It's going to be very difficult indeed, unless that is your core business and that's all you do, like the guys at GoWP or WP Curve when they were around, or WP Maintain. I mean, if that is your core business and that's all you do, like Joe at WP Buffs, maybe if you go all in on that and just optimize your processes and train a team, maybe you can get to a point where you can do that. It's going to take some time. But if you are building websites for clients and then handing those websites over and then putting them on a website maintenance plan for $59 a month, you are going to run out of profit very quickly. And what really pisses me off is when, and I mean this respectfully, but it does piss me off when people can't seem to get out of their own head enough to understand and realize the possibility. Like, the question not is, how can I possibly sell a website care plan to a client for $197 a month or $597 a month or $5,000 a month? That's not the question. The question is, what do I need to sell this to a client to stay profitable? Let's say you have to sell a website care plan to a client for $594 a month. I just made that number up because that's what you need to be profitable. The question then is, what goes into that care plan to make it extremely valuable to the client so that it's a no-brainer for them to hand over that money every month? That's the question you need to be asking. So, and I mean this respectfully, what pisses me off is when I see business owners sabotaging their own profit because they think that's what the client can afford. And that really pisses me off. There we go.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah? Did you believe
Woo!
it?
Yeah, I definitely believe that pisses you off.
I need to just take a chill pill now. Calm down.
Woo! It's getting hot in here.
It is. All right.
Actually getting hot in here?
So let's segue this into website care plans. And there have been some questions this week in the Facebook group. So let's deal with those questions and let's help some people get unstuck.
Let's get unstuck.
So within the group, there was someone posted up a fairly large, I guess it's all relative, but a large care plan north of $5,000 a month.
That's right.
And the phone's lit up if we did that.
A care plan north of $5,000 a month. Wrap your head around that one.
Yeah. And there's been plenty that, like, I've definitely seen a couple north of $10,000 a month.
Yeah.
But in this particular instance, it was more than $5,000.
And that inspired one of our other members to go and do the same.
Yeah. Yeah, great. yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the question is, like, and it really flooded in with the comments, like, I'm struggling to convince my clients to pay me $50 a month or $100 a month. Like, what goes in to a $5,000 plus a month care plan? Like, what even possibly goes into that? And we were actually just talking a little bit off camera. We were saying, like, I wish that, whoever it is, we won't say who it is, but whoever it is that has that care plan, when they say what's actually included in it, I really wish, and everyone's really excited, like, I can't wait to see what's in it. It just says, help with WordPress, and that's it. Or help with website even, like that'd be, and that's it, $5,000 a month. Yep, great. If you're giving enough value to your client and they're getting that value and they're like, that's exactly what we need, that's worth that to us, we can get a return on that, then that absolutely makes sense to be able to charge that kind of money. So there's a couple of clients, like from personal experience, a couple of clients that I work with that are around that kind of mark. We do SEO work for them, but consulting work for them is one of the biggest benefits to them. And for me, that's where my sweet spot is consulting with clients. It's steering them in the right direction. Now, my consulting plans are $500 a month where I'm not doing anything else at all other than a single consult with a client per month and looking at some of their reports, because no one wants to do that, basically. But I'll look at that, give them some insight, record them a video, and have a chat with them. And that's it, $500 a month. And I'm kind of looking at that like, oh, I have to record the video. Sometimes it takes longer. Like, I think I might up that a little bit. But because I know they're getting value from that. It helps them to stop wasting so much time and money on failed things that they're trying to do and all these different directions they want to head in. It helps them get clear. It also helps them look at the different service providers they have and see what everyone else is doing. It just helps them get clarity for the month ahead. And it works great.
Yeah,
My
totally.
clients say it does. So
there's a couple of things to consider here. One is that you cannot sell a website care plan for $5,000 a month or $3,000 a month to a business that doesn't have the capacity within that business to get a return on that investment. So if you're pitching to a mum and pup shoe shop down the corner who are doing, $5,000 a week in revenue, plus then paying rent and staff and stock and all that kind of stuff, and maybe walking home with $1,200 a week in profit for the two of them, for mum and dad, trying to run a family out of that, you're not going to sell them a website care plan for $5,000 a month. It's the wrong conversation. They're not the right client for that product. So you need to find the right target audience for that product. And the second thing to consider is that a website care plan, I call them website care plans, I've also called them business continuity plan, online business continuity plan. My job is to make your business continue to do business online. And if a client is making $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 a month in profit from their online business, they will pay $1,500 a month for some kind of consulting business continuity website care package to make sure they're heading in the right direction and continuing to optimize and grow their business. So you've got to pick your audience and you've got to know the value that you're delivering.
Absolutely. Yep, exactly. Sometimes, like with the shoe shop example, it might not just be the right time at that point. So it could be the right business, it's just not the right time. Like they're just not at the right spot just yet. But if you specialize in growing that kind of company, if you specialize in taking a shoe shop just down the road and you can see the different things that they're doing, and like there's just some clear things that I could tweak and I can just easily like triple your revenue, and it's going to be a walk in the park for me, and the value is going to be massive, then you can totally pitch that if that's what you specialize in. So it's really knowing the value that you bring and being confident in what you can do there.
The reason I mentioned the shoe shop too, by the way, is because I was listening to a podcast the other day, a fabulous podcast I've been listening to recently called Entree Leadership. And the example in that podcast was a shoe store who are competing with people like Zappos online. So traditional bricks and mortar shoe stores, the only thing they have to offer now is the experience of actually fitting the shoe, right? So I will admit, I'll go into a shoe store here and get fitted out and then go buy the shoes online because they're $100 cheaper to buy it online, even if I'm paying for shipping. I get them from the UK. So the experience at the shoe store isn't that great, to be honest. So I'm just going in there to get fitted out. But the shoe store realized that their niche was actually kids' shoes, school kids' shoes, right? And they need a really good fit, and they change every year because they're growing. Adults, once you hit, early to mid 20s, sorry to burst your bubble, but you pretty much don't grow anymore. So whatever size shoe you're in at the age of 24, you're probably still going to be in at the age of 44. So you can just order them online, right? Whereas a kid's growing, the feet are growing every 6 months, every 3 months, so they need to be fitted out properly. That's the experience they're providing in the store. So they started to bring in kids entertainment and kids authors to read kids books and do kids entertainment on the weekends to bring more families into the shoe store. And guess what? They sold more shoes.
Nice.
Radical idea, right? So that's why I was using that example.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh Gradenstein says, that's the tough decision. Do you want to invest sweat equity in a company and see it grow into a solid client who can pay your desired care plan fee? Depends on where you're at in your journey, Josh. I don't want to put my sweat equity into someone else's business right now. I want to put sweat equity into my business, not my clients' businesses. So I totally get it. In fact, early on we were building a online store for a snow, you'd appreciate this, a ski snow tour company. And the guy said to me, I tell you what, if you build this out for us, I'll do a revenue share with you. And I said, there's two things wrong with that. First of all, I don't know how good your product is, so I don't know what kind of experience you're providing to the customer. And second of all, you're asking me to make an investment of my time and my team's time into your business in the hope that I'm then going to get some revenue back, but you're not prepared to actually pony up and make that investment in your own business with your own money. So why the hell should I be prepared to put my time and my team's time into your business if I'm going to put my time and my team's time into any business for no money up front? It's going to be my business, not your business. So they're the two problems I have with that model, Josh.
Yeah. I think I might do a little section on that pisses me off next week, because I get that question a lot from clients. Well, new clients coming in.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's going to be, whatever.
Yeah.
Really, really talking it up and then saying it's going to lead to X, Y, Z. It's going to lead to more work. I know all these people.
It's not going to lead to more work.
No,
and your new unfunded startup of an idea is not going to rattle the cage, and it's not going to disrupt anything.
That's right.
On average, we visit about 7 websites a day. What makes your new website the thing that's going to get one of those coveted 7 spots a day?
7?
The average
I've visited
internet user
7
uses
before I've
about
woken
7.
up.
Yeah, I know, same. Yeah. I visit 7 in my dreams. .com. Jason Van says, I love the Entre Leadership podcast. There. It's fantastic. So do I. Yeah. I mean, the truth is your new idea is probably not going to work. That's just the truth. So don't ask me to invest my money into it. Go and get some funding and invest your own money into it.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. So what you can actually put into a WordPress maintenance plan.
Oh, right, back on WordPress maintenance
So we've got
plans.
SEO, we've got consulting, we've got, you could have code optimization if that's important to your client, and that's something you can deliver profitably, and that's going to work for you. I've got quite a few e-commerce sites that we tweak the checkout process. That's, I guess, conversion rate optimization, but we need to do something with the code. We need to mess around with that. We need to test things, A/B testing.
Here's a radical idea. Pippen Williamson from Pippen's Plugins, he posted once, in fact, I think he was on the podcast when he said this. He saw something like his conversion rate, this is Pippen from Easy Digital Downloads, right? He saw his conversion rate go from something like, I don't know, 1.5% to 3% or something. It was like a remarkable increase in his conversion rate simply by narrowing his checkout page to 600 pixels wide, right? Now, if you're working with an e-commerce store that is doing revenue and you make that one tweak for them a month and make them an extra $30,000 in revenue, well, you're charging them, what, $49 for a website maintenance plan?
Yeah, you're having the wrong conversation
Correct.
if you're just talking about security, backups, and updates, because they're going to be a thing of the past. Not sure exact date on that, but it's going to be a thing of the past very soon.
And Michael's got a great question here. If the client doesn't take a care package and they up a plugin update by doing it themselves, how do you go about resolving this? Perhaps a clause in the contract. Yes, Michael, I've got a great clause in our contract that says, I will not give you admin access to the website. We give you editor access to the website. If you want admin access to the website, you need to sign a disclaimer that says if you touch anything and break it, we'll be charging you a premium fee of about $800 an hour to come and fix it. So stop. Okay, there you go. That's our disclaimer there. Maintenance plans, back to maintenance
Something
plans.
about that, yeah. So stop thinking about the minimum. Stop thinking about the things that the clients don't value. Backup, security, updates. Like, it has to be done. Take it as it has to be done, and look at your costs for that and how you can do that profitably. But what can you value add to your clients? What is it they actually want? And instead of sitting there alone in the dark thinking about what that is, go and ask them.
Yeah.
And see what they say.
Yeah.
Yep. And then come up with your maintenance plans.
The thing is, if you're trying to pitch, I'll tell you what's really hard to sell. If you're trying to pitch software updates,
very exciting,
backups,
isn't it?
and security,
Yeah.
I'll charge you $59 a month to keep your software up to date, do your backups, and keep your website secure.
Yeah.
The client says, hang on a second, if I sign up at Squarespace, it's backed up, it's secure, and it updates in the cloud and doesn't cost me anything. Why am I paying you $59 a month to do that? Don't try and sell unless that is your core business, like WP Curve or GoWP or WP Maintain or any of those services, right? And by the way, their target market is the small business owner who doesn't have a relationship with a web professional.
That's right.
And their target market is, hey, we will just make those problems go away for $60 a month, right? Thank you very much, peace of mind. That's not the relationship that you've got with your client. So don't try and compete in that space. It's going to be very difficult to try and just sell software updates, maintenance, and backup and security. You want to start to sell strategy and consulting and content updates and those kind of things that actually really help the client.
Yeah,
not something they expect as a given.
Yep. I'm going to rattle off some tools that I use now for my maintenance plans.
Oh.
You ready to hear
We
about this?
definitely are ready.
Yeah, haven't written any of them down, so Ray doesn't have any links for this, but I'm just going to Just going to throw them out there. So when it comes to doing...
Hang on.
Sure.
We can't. What are we going to do? We're going to have a look at
Get ready for Tool of the Week.
Oh, slick.
To be honest, this wasn't Tool of the Week.
Oh, wasn't it?
No.
Well, what are you talking about? You're talking
yeah.
about the tools. You're talking about what tools you're going to... I mean, if talking about the tool that you're going to use to help you do this doesn't fit into the Tool of the Week segment, which segment does it fit into?
Well, this is the how, the why, what, how. So this is the how you do
Well, what are you going
this.
to put in Tool of the Week?
It's right there.
But that's what you're talking about now, right?
Well, yeah.
Was that not the right bumper to play for this segment? Gee whiz, I think we're going to have a team meeting after this episode, eh?
So,
Let's get on the same page again.
So when it comes to maintenance, when it comes to the boring stuff, the backup security, the updates, we use Manage WP.
Correct.
Yeah, and that works great. And we've just got a checklist in Asana, another tool. We could have a tool count and just have that at the top.
Yeah.
Like
Manage
7,000.
WP, a checklist, and we actually are going to build a wiki which actually lists all of the. Watch them salivate over this. We're going to build a wiki which lists all of the tools and all of the hardware and all of the software we use to run this business and the studio and everything and the WordPress consultant. Would that be good? Leave us a comment if you like that idea. Yeah. Watch the viewership go up to 1,000 and watch the comments just explode.
Yeah, it's going down. Whoop. It's going down. Peak warning.
We lost someone.
Cool.
Leave us a comment if you'd like a wiki.
Yeah, Manage WP for the maintenance. So then we use Asana for the checklist for what you need to do for each site in the maintenance. And then when it comes to reporting, I use, Manage WP has maintenance reports, but it's not quite powerful enough to give SEO insights and just more insights that I want to do. Like Facebook ads is something we do for clients. So I use Agency Analytics.
Yes.
And it's a bit expensive, but I've definitely managed to cover the cost of that. In terms of just being able to charge effectively for the services that I offer. I then use either Screencast-O-Matic or Loom to record a video of me looking at Agency Analytics and giving my clients some insights. So I'll spend about 20 minutes having a look over that for the month, comparing, looking at different data, looking at what activities they've been doing, and then I'll record my insights of that as I'm clicking through and kind of tell the clients what to do next. That works pretty good. When it comes to some maintenance plans for e-commerce, we found that we were spending about 2 years trying to create a good workflow for that. So we've actually outsourced that to WP Buffs, and that's working really well. They're doing a really good job of managing that for us. They have a white label version, which is awesome. GoWP have this as well. They've got a white label version, so you can actually set them up as an extension of your support team. So your clients can email them directly and ask for things, and they're super nice, super friendly, and they'll reply back. So if you're trying to do all this and you're struggling to do this profitably, pay someone else to do it, and you've got a hard cost in there, so you actually have to price more effectively to be able to get that service delivered. And you can just leverage off their systems that work really well.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very good.
So this week's tool of the week is Cloud App.
Oh, right.
Which is nowhere near as cool as any of those other tools, but I'm using Cloud App all the time now.
Right.
They have a GIF feature that we're using internally for our development and website building and just any tweaks and changes that we're making. So we'll make a change, or we're trying to explain something to the team where we'll just record a little GIF animation, and for the free version I think you get 15 seconds, where on the paid version it's about a minute, and the team will record, we've completed this task, let's say we've added a new header to this landing page, and they'll record that and they'll show that it's parallax or something in that video. It plays automatically in Asana. I don't have to click anywhere else. Project Manager doesn't need to, and it's just made our workflow so much more efficient, and it's great to communicate with clients as well.
Better than Droplr?
It's almost the same, there's just different spelling.
Right.
Yeah, different points on the Scrabble board is all I'm seeing at the moment.
Okay,
Yeah.
so because we use Droplr.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, okay,
totally.
cool. Okay,
Yeah,
so it does a similar thing to Droplr.
Totally.
Sweet, all right. Good. Okay, what else? What else is going on? You know what we didn't do? We didn't do the gold nugget. Did we do the gold nugget? I don't think we did the gold nugget.
Jesus.
We've done the
we're all
gold
over the
nugget.
place.
Let's just play the bumper anyway.
Time to dig into the gold nugget.
Only because it's just so rock and roll.
It
I
is
love
rock and roll.
Well,
It's
the gold
awesome.
nugget really is selling maintenance plans to your clients will help you build recurring revenue in your business. And I'm here to tell you, hand on heart, that building recurring revenue in your business is the smartest thing you can do, because it then allows you to have a baseline of cash flow that you can then say to a project that walks in the door that might be interesting but ultimately unprofitable, or might look okay but the client's a complete pain in the ass, you can say to them, sorry, got a full dance card right now, can't help you because I have enough recurring revenue in the business to, pay the bills. We did that originally through the Video User Manuals plugin. We got that to a point where it was doing about 120 grand a year, and it was like, okay, sweet. I mean, that wasn't enough to pay myself, my business partner, a decent wage, but it was like, all right, well, now we can maybe say, we're going to say no to that project because we don't like the idea of it and it's going to take too long and it's not going to be profitable. Or we might say yes because it's pretty straightforward and it is profitable. So having that baseline of recurring revenue was a game changer.
Yeah.
Strongly recommend it.
Yeah. When you're in the scarcity, when you're in a bit of desperation mode, you start to say yes to things you shouldn't and make some bad decisions that actually impact you negatively in the long term. So yeah, it's really good to help you get past that mindset if you're a bit stuck in that one.
G'day to Clifford who just joined in. Peter Wright says, when doing monthly consulting sessions with clients, do you have a template or process that you use each time to make the process repeatable with every client?
Yeah, I do. And I don't follow it all the time because I tweak things all the time. And if I'm the only one following a process that I made, then I'm not going to follow my rules. So I want the end result to be as efficient, useful as possible. So whatever that looks like, I will tweak that pretty much every single time I do it, but I have a pretty loose agenda and that it works for me.
I'll tell you what I'll do. Next week on the show, are you here next week or are you in Bali?
No, week after I'm in Bali.
Week
next
after.
Week I'll be here.
Next week you're here. I'm not here next week. It's my wife's birthday
Oh,
and I'm
exciting.
taking the bloody day off because it's my wife's birthday.
There you go.
There you go.
Because you've got enough recurring revenue in the business that you
Correct.
can make these decisions.
That I can do that. But you're here next week.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put together my script for consulting calls. And for Peter, I'm going to do that for you, Peter, right? And I'm going to give it to Simon, and Simon is going to give it away on next week's episode.
Yeah, I'll probably, I'll tweak it. I'll do something to
please
it.
do. Butcher it. Completely rewrite it. Steal it and claim it as your own. Knock
Just
yourself out.
rebrand it. It's probably all I'll do that.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm respectful of everyone's time, particularly mine. This has been fun, and I think we've been going long enough. We've done things in a different order and we've played segments and bumpers completely out of sequence, which has been fun.
Yeah, Ray's super happy about that, I can see.
We did a 3.5 hour epic live stream yesterday. It's a miracle we hear it all. So, hey, it's been fun. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, wpelevation.com/YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at wpelevation.com/Facebook. And if you go to wpelevation.com/Snapchat, you'll see our 404 page because we don't use Snapchat and you'll get an error message.
But we're thinking about doing some, what are they even called? Moments? Or Instagram?
Oh, Insta Stories.
Stories,
Yeah,
that's
Insta
the one.
Stories, that's
yeah,
right. Yeah.
I don't know, would anyone be interested in seeing some behind the scenes stuff? Like as we're setting up, like a bit of, shit talk between different segments before and after with what the hell's going on. So we've got the behind the scenes that that Max puts together, the videos, which are awesome, but this would be more like raw little, 10-second, 15-second little snippets of things going on. So I'm trying to convince Troy. I reckon it'd be a good idea.
Okay, let's do it. We'll do it. Sure, why not?
See how we go.
Let's do it. Insta Stories are the best, said Josh Osler.
All right, we've got one viewer.
Excellent. We're going to start posting
Start
Insta
from
Stories. Cool. All right, so leave us a comment. Tell us what you want to learn next. This is, of course, Silence is Golden. It's part of the WP Elevation channel here. Look forward to, he'll see you next week. I'll be having a day off for my wife's birthday. And then the week after that, you're away.
That's right.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
And then I think the week after that, I'm going to New Zealand for a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And I will have arrived at 6:30 a.m. from Bali. So I'll be it'll be a little hazy here, but we'll be good.
Excellent. It'll be
See how we
fun.
go. Yeah.
All right, look forward to seeing you again soon. My name is Troy Dean.
Mine is Simon Kelly.
And remember, knowledge is power.
And silence is golden.